Dear students, today we are going to discuss the plot summary of this drama by Thomas Kidd, the Spanish tragedy. So today the discussion will be on the plot structure, entire plot structure. So let's start our discussion. So the Spanish tragedy written by Thomas Kidd. When the play opens, so as I said earlier, the 16th century, the Elizabethan audience were more interested in supernatural elements. As a result, many of the playwrights of that period used ghost and many other supernatural elements in their play to satisfy the audience. Similarly, Thomas Kidd, in his Spanish tragedy, he has used the ghost scene in the opening scene to attract the audience. The same formula was even applied by Shakespeare, who came later. So, when the play opens, we can see a ghost appears. A ghost appears, and it is the ghost of Don Andrea, who was a Spanish courtier, and the ghost explains the history after its death. So, so the ghost of Andrea, Andrea was courtier, Spanish courtier, and he was killed in the battle between Portugal and Spain. Spain and Portugal, there's a war. Before the play opens, the war was going between Spain and Portugal, and Don Andrea was courtier of Spain, and he was killed in the battlefield by Balthazar, who was the prince of Portugal. He was a prince of Portugal, and he was killed in the battlefield. So after the death of Don Andrea in the battlefield, the ghost or the spirit of Andrea went to underworld. So this goes to the Greek mythology. So Greek mythology says after the death, the spirit of the human body goes to the underworld and it goes to heaven. So this is the belief, கிரேக்கர்களுடைய நம்பிக்கை. So similar as it is, அதே மாதிரி. So after the death, the ghost of Andrea goes to the underworld, and in the underworld, the judges refuse to accept the spirit of Andrea, and the king and the princess of the underworld are Pluto and Prosperine. Okay, we'll see detailed how the spirit goes to underworld, how it was refused in detailed summary. Now it is a plot summary, so I'll say the story in a nutshell. So when the ghost of Andrea, or the spirit of Andrea, goes to the palace of Pluto and Prosperine, who are the king and princess of underworld, he was not accepted in the underworld by the queen. So they refused to accept the ghost or spirit of Andrea because Andrea was having a revenge. Usually it is said, if any spirit after the death has some thing to get fulfilled, it will not be permitted in the underworld. It will be sent again to the earth. So தீராத ஆசைகளோடு இறந்தவங்க அண்டர்வேர்ல்டில் சொர்க்கம் அடைய மாட்டாங்க, திருப்பி பூமிக்கு அனுப்பப்படுவார்கள் அப்படின்றது நம்பிக்கை. ஸோ அதே மாதிரி தான் now Andrea is not permitted to live in the underworld because Andrea has revenge motive. So as Andrea, the ghost Andrea is having revenge motive, the king and the princess of underworld asked the revenge spirit to take the ghost of Andrea to the earth to take the revenge. So that's how the scene opens. So the scene opens with the ghost of Andrea in the underworld, and Andrea explains how he was killed by Balthazar in the battlefield between Spain and Portugal. And after the battlefield, Balthazar killed Don Andrea. Now, after the death, when the spirit of Andrea goes to the underworld, the king refuses to accept Andrea in the underworld as it is having the revenge spirit. So, the king and the princess ask the revenge spirit to take Don Andrea to the earth to satisfy the revenge motive of the spirit Don Andrea. So after that, this is it appears as a chorus. So the chorus closes. So after the chorus, this drama opens. So the Spain forces returned from the battlefield. So after the battle, the Spain army returned to the country. They have won the battle against Portugal, and the army general says they have reached peace with Portugal army. So the army general of Spain comes to the king and says they have reached peace treatment, peace agreement. And however, before the settlement, the Spain general says that they have captured Balthazar as captive. So Balthazar and Lorenzo is a son of the Duke of Castile, that is Spain, and Horatio is the son of Hieronimo. Hieronimo, as I said earlier in the character mapping, is the son of Hieronimo. Horatio is the son of Hieronimo, and Hieronimo is the knight or next to the king. Hieronimo is next to the king. So the son of Hieronimo is Horatio. So Duke of Castile, Lorenzo, son of Duke of Castile, and the son of the next man, minister, Hieronimo's son Horatio, claimed their role in capturing Balthazar. Hieronimo is the father of Horatio. So, and Marshal, who is Hieronimo? The Marshal. Marshal is our padavi, minister Mari. Okay, that is home minister Mari. So he is a marshal to the Duke of Castile, the Spain. But the king of Spain rewards both, that is his son and the son of Hieronimo. Okay, this happens in the first scene. So in the first scene, after the chorus, Don Andrea talks about his experience in the underworld, where he was rejected to stay in the underworld because he has a revenge spirit within him. And when the play opens, the Spain army has won the battle against Portugal, and as a captive, Balthazar has been taken to Spain as a captive, and two people, son of the Duke of Spain and son of the Marshal of Spain, claim the reward for capturing Balthazar as captive. But the Duke, or the King of Spain, rewards both. So this happens in Spain. Now the scene shifts to Portugal. In Portugal, the Viceroy of Portugal, sorry, this is a spelling mistake. So the Viceroy of Portugal Sorry. So the Viceroy of Portugal Viceroy discusses about his son. He inquires about his son, and he has received a news that his son was killed in the battlefield. Who is the son of Viceroy? We have discussed in the character mapping. So Viceroy Portugal, the son of Viceroy Portugal is Balthazar. So a news he has received that his son Balthazar was killed in the battlefield, and he laments the death of his son. Alexander, the two people have come from the battlefield to the kingdom or to the palace. They are Alexander and Villupu. Alexander tells the viceroy that his son is still alive and he has seen his son taken as captive by the prince of Spain. So Alexander என்ன சொல்றான், அவன் பார்த்ததா சொல்றான். ஸோ பிணை கைதியா கூட்டு போனதை பார்த்ததா சொல்றான் Alexander. But Villupu says that only Alexander has killed his son and he has seen Alexander killed his son from the battlefield. This he says to get reward or posting, a promotion from the king. Okay, when Villupu says that his son was killed by Alexander on the battlefield, the viceroy immediately orders for the arrest of Alexandria, and he rewards Villupu. So Alexandria is arrested, is put in jail, and Villupu is rewarded immediately. So again, the scene shifts to Spain. So in Spain, Bellimperia is given the news that Don Andrea was killed in the battlefield. Now, who is Bellimperia? Bellimperia is the daughter of the Duke of Spain and sister of Lorenzo. So, Duke of Castile, that is King of Spain, ஒரு son, மகன் பேர் Lorenzo, மக பேர் Bellimperia. Now, Bellimperia has loved Don Andrea. Don Andrea, Bellimperia was in love with Don Andrea. Now Don Andrea is killed or murdered in the battlefield. Now Horatio, who is the son of the Hieronimo, brings the news to Bellimperia. So Bellimperia's sister and Duke Castle's daughter. In the past, she loved Andrea. Now Horatio recounts what happened in the battlefield, and Bellimperia comes to know that Don Andrea did not die in the battlefield, he was murdered in the battlefield. So this is the news that Horatio brings to Bellimperia. Now Bellimperia inquires who murdered Don Andrea in the battlefield, and he says it is Balthazar who murdered her lover, that is Andrea, in the battlefield. Now at this, Bellimperia is a Machiavellian. As I said, this word is very most important for this play. Machiavellian, a lady Machiavellian. So she now decides to take revenge for the murder of Don Andrea. So she goes to any extent. She decides to go to any extent to take the revenge for the murder of her lover Don Andrea. So suddenly she proposes her love to Horatio so that they both can join together to seek the revenge to kill Balthazar. ஏன்னா பல்தாசர்கிட்ட போகக்கூடிய ஒரே ஆள் ஹொரேஷியோ தான். ஸோ ஹொரேஷியோ வச்சு தான் பல்தாசர்கிட்ட போக முடியும் அப்படின்ற ஒரே காரணத்துக்காக Bellimperia expresses his love to Horatio so that she can take revenge. She can kill Balthazar. So they both fall in love, and Horatio accepts the love of Bellipedia. So at this time, the Portuguese ambassador comes, Ambassador Tulwar comes, and he talks about the peace treaty between two countries, Spain and Portugal. So they come to a conclusion. The Portugal ambassador and the King of Spain, they come to an agreement, peace agreement. So the peace agreement is made by the marriage between Balthazar and Bellipedia. So now, why this marriage is made very fast? Because the king, Duke of Spain, very well knows that her daughter Bellipedia is in love with Don Andrea. Now Don Andrea is killed or murdered. Now suddenly, so that now the marriage has to be fixed so that Bellipedia comes out of the sad news of the death of Don Andrea. Don Andrea மறக்கணும் அப்படின்னா Bellipedia ஒரு கல்யாணத்தை பண்ணி வைக்கணும்னு சொல்லி King of the Duke of Castle accepts the peace treaty between the King of Portugal and the Spain. So the Portugal ambassador proposes a deal as a marriage between Balthazar, that is the Prince of Portugal, and Bellipedia, the daughter of the Duke of Castle, the King of Spain. So the King of Spain accepts the offer of marriage as a peace treaty. So அமைதி உடன்பாட்டாக இதை ஒத்துக்கொள்கிறார். Okay. So, but the King of Spain refuses to give any money as a dowry because Balthazar is now the captive. பிணைக்கைதியா இருக்கனால dowry மட்டும் கொடுக்கிறதுக்கு refuse பண்ணிடுறார். Okay. Now we'll go to next. So the King of Spain arranges the marriage between Bellipedia and Balthazar. But now there is a problem. Bellipedia is in love with Horatio. Now the love between Bellipedia and Horatio, so sorry, the spelling is only type Horatio, Horatio, sorry, Horatio. So see, for Bellipedia there are two different spellings are used in two different texts. Limperia. Now this spelling is also used, so you can use both the spellings. Okay. Now Bellipedia loves Horatio. Now there is a servant for Bellipedia to attend, and his name of the servant is Petrignano. Now Petrignano is a servant of Bellipedia, and he delivers the news of the love matter, that is the love matter of Bellipedia and Horatio, to Lorenzo, and Lorenzo delivers the love affair of his sister to Balthazar. So Petrignano is the most important person, next important character, who reveals the love affair of Bellipedia and Horatio to the brother of Bellipedia, that is Lorenzo. And Lorenzo and Balthazar join hands to kill Horatio, to murder Horatio, so that Balthazar can marry Bellipedia. So the news comes to the ears of Lorenzo, and immediately the very next day Horatio is stabbed to death, and he is hung on the tree of Horatio's Hieronimo's, that is in the tree near the home of Hieronimo, who is the father of Horatio. So Horatio உடைய அப்பா வீட்டுக்கு முன்னாடி இருக்க மரத்திலே கட்டி தொங்க விட்டுறாங்க, அடிச்சு யாரா Horatio. When Hieronimo finds his son's dead body, he vows revenge. So Hieronimo அவனுடைய மகனுடைய டெட் பாடியை பார்த்தோன்னே அவனும் எனக்கு பழி வாங்கணும் மகனுடைய கொலைக்கு பழி வாங்கணும்னு சொல்லி ஒரு சபதம் எடுக்கிறான். Now you can see here that three revenge. See, this play is a revenge tragedy. See, there are three revenge. When the play opens, the ghost seeks the revenge. The ghost of Andrea seeks revenge. When the play, when in the chorus, in the chorus, in the chorus, the ghost Don Andrea seeks revenge. When the play opens, Bellimperia seeks revenge, and in the next act, Horatio's father Hieronimo seeks revenge. Fine. Now what happens? So now the three people who are seeking revenge for the murder, and two murders have happened. The murder of Don Andrea and the murder of Don Andrea's friend Horatio. Horatio is a friend of Don Andrea. So Don Andreaவும் கொல்லப்படுறான், அவனுடைய நண்பனும் கொல்லப்படுறான். Okay. So two murders, three people taking the revenge, seeking the revenge, and among the three, one is the ghost. Fine. Now, in the Portugal, the scene shift to Portugal. The viceroy comes to know that his son is alive. So, அங்க போர்ச்சுகல்ல மகன் உயிரோட இருக்கிற நியூஸ் வந்து வைஸ்ராய்க்கு வருது. உடனே now immediately he asks Villupu to be punished severely, and he releases Alexandro. But Alexandro immediately begs the king to forgive Villupu, and the king forgives Villupu. So this is the character of Alexandro. Okay. Now in Spain, what happens is Bellimperia is now when Pedrignano informs to the brother of Bellimperia that his sister is in love with Horatio, they kill Horatio, they murder Horatio, and they imprison Bellimperia. Imprisonna கைதி, வீட்டுக்குள்ளேயே கைதியாக்குறாங்க Bellimperia. So they imprison Bellimperia with a servant. Bellimperiaவோட servantோட அப்படியே. So however, அப்படி இருந்த போதிலும் what happens is Bellimperia sends a letter to Horatio's father, that is Hieronimo. So in that letter, Bellimperia reveals the secret of his son's murder, who is involved in the murder of his son Horatio. So the letter reveals the secret, and the letter goes to the hands of Hieronimo. Now Hieronimo is shocked to hear that his son was murdered by two persons. Okay, and it is Lorenzo and Balthazar. Now he is very much angry, and however Hieronimo, அவங்க அப்பா Horatio's அப்பா, he wants to seek justice for the murder of his son. However, he wants to before seeking the justice, he wants to clarify whether the news that the letter brings is true. So லெட்டர் எழுதப்பட்ட விஷயம் உண்மையான்றதை செக் பண்ண விரும்புகிறார் யாரு? Hieronimo. Okay, very good. So now there is Pedrignano, servant of Bellimperia, and Sebrine, servant of Balthazar, are the evidence of murder. இதுக்கு இடையில what happens is Balthazar and Lorenzo they want to erase the evidences of the murder of Horatio. So Horatio murderக்கு எவிடன்ஸா இருக்கிற ஆட்களை கொல்லணும்னு முடிவு பண்றாங்க. Okay, so who are the evidence? The two persons, Pedrignano, who is a servant of Bellimperia, and Sebrine, the servant of Balthazar, are the evidences. They are the evidence of the murder. So they want to do away with these two characters, that is Pedrignano and Sebrine. So they want to kill or they want to murder again these two characters because they are the evidence for the murder of Horatio. So Lorenzo plans to kill both, and however, Petrignano comes to know that he will be murdered. So he also writes a letter to Hieronimo about the murder, how his son was killed, and how he witnessed the death or the murder of his son Horatio. And he sees to it that the letter is placed in the hands of Hieronimo. So இவனும் ஒரு லெட்டர் பெட்ரிங்கானவும் ஒரு லெட்டர் எழுதி அனுப்பிடலாம். ஸோ தே கில். ஸோ கதையில் பார்ப்போம், டீட்டெயிலாக பார்க்கும்போது பெட்ரிங்கானோ எப்படி கொல்லப்படுறான்னு பார்ப்போம். பட் ஹீ இஸ் கில்டு. ஸோ ஹீ இஸ் மர்டர்ட். பெட்ரிங்கானோ இஸ் மர்டர்ட் அண்ட் த லெட்டர் written by Petrignano also reaches Hieronimo. Now at this point, Hieronimo's wife Isabella turns lunatic after the death of his son. Lunatic na பைத்தியமாயிரா. Now Hieronimo gets the he decides to take the revenge because he confirms it is his son was murdered by Lorenzo and Balthazar. So he decides to seek revenge for the murder of his son. So when Hieronimo receives the letter of Petrignano, he is totally confused. No, at one point, when he sees his wife lunatic, he also decides to commit suicide, but changes his intention. He changes his intention. அந்த சூசைட் பண்ணுற இன்டென்ஷன் மாறுதுன்னா, a common man will come. அதாவது கதையில் பார்ப்போம். A common man will come and seek justice for the murder of his son. ஒரு சாதாரண ஒரு பிரஜை, நாட்டு பிரஜை வந்து ஹீரோனிமாட்ட வந்து கேட்பான், என்னுடைய மகனை கொண்டுட்டாங்க, என் சொந்தக்காரங்க கொண்டுட்டாங்க, அதுக்கு நீங்கள் நீதி வாங்கி கொடுங்கன்னு கேட்பான். சாதாரண அப்பா. ஸோ அதை பார்த்துட்டு ஹீரோனிமாவுக்கு மனசு உறுத்தலாம், கில்ட்டியாக இருக்கும். ஸோ ஒரு சாதாரண மனிதன் அவனுடைய மகன் இறந்ததுக்கு நியாயம் கேட்குறான். ஸோ என்னுடைய மகன் இறந்ததை நான் நியாயம் கேட்காம நான் சூசைட் பண்ணது தப்பு அப்படின்னு சொல்லி மனசை மாற்றிக்கிறான். ஸோ Hieronimo decides to commit suicide but later changes his intention. So he decides to take revenge. So now the Portuguese ambassador comes and he brings the news that the marriage between Balthazar and Bellipiria is accepted both by the king and the viceroy, and the viceroy comes to the palace of the Spain. Okay, இதுதான் the viceroy ஸ்பெயின் நாட்டு பேலஸுக்கு வர்றாரு. So Hieronimo is called to arrange for a drama to entertain the viceroy of Portugal. Now what happens is, now the Hieronimo arranges a play. He arranges a drama, the same drama, the drama of the murder of Horatio, and he wants to he wants to seek revenge in the drama itself. So he exchanges the dummy sword with real sword, so that they both, Lorenzo and Balthazar, kill themselves. So that such way the script is written. So நாடகத்தினுடைய கதையை அந்த மாதிரி வடிவமைச்சு ரெண்டு பேரும் சண்டை போடுற மாதிரி, அதில் ஒருத்தர் கொல்லப்படுற மாதிரி, இன்னொருத்தர் எடுத்து திருப்பி கொள்ற மாதிரி இருக்கிற ஒரு காட்சி அமைச்சு. So in that scene he exchanges the sword and they get killed. So that's what the plan of Hieronimo. And Hieronimo arranges a play to entertain the viceroy of Portugal, and he also decides to seek revenge for the murder of his son. And in the climax, many unfortunate events take place. So Hieronimo writes tragedy play to entertain the king. So in the play, you find the murderer of his son. When the show takes place, Hieronimo's wife commits suicide. So நாடகம் நடந்துகிட்டு இருக்கும்போது ஒரு நியூஸ் comes to Hieronimo that his wife has committed suicide. And in the play, நாடகத்துக்குள்ள Lorenzo and Balthazar are killed on the stage, and Bellimperia commits suicide in the cell. சிறையிலேயே Bellimperia suicide commit பண்ணிக்கிறான். And the king and the viceroy who are witnessing the drama are horrified because the Lorenzo and Balthazar who are acting on the stage are killed. They have not waken up and they are killed, and the blood is real, so they are horrified, and they command Hieronimo the reason for the murder of Lorenzo and Balthazar. So உடனே ஹீரோனிமோவை கைது பண்ணி காரணம் கேட்குறாங்க. What is the reason for the murder of Lorenzo and Balthazar? But Hieronimo refuses to say any word. He simply cuts his tongue with the sword he has in his hand. So கத்தி எடுத்து நாக வெட்டிக்கிறான். அப்படி வெட்டினதும் இல்லாமல் என்ன பண்ணுறான், கிங் டியூக் ஆஃப் கேஸ்டலையும் வைஸ்ராயும் ரெண்டு பேரையும் கொன்றான். So he kills both viceroy and the duke, and he dies. So now we can see when the drama comes to the end, there is no one in the stage, no one in the play. So when the play opens, Duke of Andrea is murdered, and next when the play opens, Horatio is murdered. After this, Bellimperia's servant Pedrignano is murdered, and Sebrine is murdered. That we can see in the story how they are murdered. And after which Hieronimo's wife commits suicide. And next comes two, Lorenzo and Balthazar are killed on the stage, and Hieronimo kills himself. He cuts his head himself after killing the king and the duke. So when the play comes to an end, there are almost 10 dead bodies on the stage. So 10 murders. So the play comes to an end with 10 murders, seeking the revenge of Don Andrea, and the revenge spirit gets satisfied as after the revenge, Don Andrea's spirit gets satisfied, and the revenge spirit takes Don Andrea to the underworld peacefully, and Don Andrea, the spirit of Don Andrea is accepted in the underworld. So this is how the story comes to an end. So for this reason, this drama is called the revenge tragedy. Okay, thank you dear students. So from the next class we will see the story in a detailed manner. This is just a summary of the story. So with this summary, we will see act-wise summary from the next class. Thank you dear students.